Hi guys, and welcome to today's review of a brand new watch from a company called Haylou, and the watch called Solar, or otherwise they also known as LS05 model on AliExpress. Thank you all very much for subscribing, liking and commenting these videos. It really means a lot, so thank you very much. So let's begin the video with unpacking, and I'll talk about the packaging first of all. So if you're going to be buying this watch as a present for someone, rest assured that person will be really happy with their present, because the packaging is just fantastic. It's very similar to the packaging that we've seen with the Haylou LS01, that the watch we reviewed before. And without further ado, let's open it up and see what comes in the box. So inside of the black cardboard box we'll find the watch itself. You'll also find a short manual in English and a magnetic charging cable that we also seen on Haylou LS01. So as usual, let's begin the video by talking about the figures of this watch first of all. So the price, you pay $29 US on AliExpress currently, but there are sales coming up sometime soon, so you might pick it up even cheaper than it is at the minute. The screen size is 1.3 inches with a resolution of 240 by 240 pixels. The battery inside of this watch is 340 milliamp, which will last you a good 30 days, but that's provided that you're not going to be using all the functions all the time. Or if you're going to be using those functions all the time like I do, you'll still get just about 15 to 20 days battery life out of this watch anyway, so a pretty good battery life, to be honest with you. So now let's talk about the outer look of the watch, because obviously that's quite important to most of the people. The frame itself is all made out of metal. It's really nicely built. At the back of the watch, the panel is all plastic. This is where you'll find all your sensors, and this is also a magnetic dock for your charging cable. The display in front is all covered by the hardened glass, so it's not going to scratch anytime soon, and it shouldn't get damaged anytime soon either. On the right side, there's only one power button, and that's the only button that you can actually press on the watch. After 2 weeks of wearing this watch, the strap shows signs of wear and tear. You can see where it's been rubbing, so it changes color slightly. And the main issue that I've got with this strap is, unlike with any other watch, even with the Haylou LS01, I've never had it, but the end portion of the strap comes loose after a few hours of wearing, so I'm having manually to tuck it back in, and that becomes really annoying. So what I've done is I've ordered myself a different strap, but it's a minor thing, but that's I think what this stamp is for. It's basically to say this is where we save the money, so make sure to order yourself a separate strap for this watch. So what else is in this watch? You've got a Bluetooth 5.0 that connects then to your phone, and the connection will stay strong and reliable at all the times. You also got an IP rating, which is IP68, meaning that you can take them to a shower, a light rain, a sweat, and perhaps maybe even if you're going to submerge this watch for, let's say, up to half an hour in a swimming pool, or maybe you're going to go and deep in the ocean or something like that, that should be absolutely fine. So they are watertight. So now let's just jump into the menu itself, and I'll talk about that, and I'll show you what's going on inside. So this is a standard watch face that you can see. The watch comes with 5 watch faces only, and some YouTubers talk about that in the near future perhaps maybe this watch will have more watch faces, but taking a look at the Haylou LS01, they've been out for a couple of years now, and they had the same thing with them. They had 5 watch faces, and the library has never been expanded since. So I think the same goes for Haylou Solar. I think it's going to stay like that forever. It's just going to be 5 watch faces, but hey ho, we've got what we've got, and we're just going to live with that. So that's the standard watch face. Let's flick through another 4. That'd be that one, which is blue. Then you've got more a conservative look, and then there's a minimalistic design, which is also just the arrows and just tells you the date. And there's a bit of a sort of Nike sports look, and we're back to the one that I'm actually currently using, and I will be using this watch face for a good reason. First of all, I see this watch face as the more informative watch face, because you get a lot of information on the screen, and also there's a little little cloud with the temperature at the top, and if you press that portion of the watch face, it will directly take you to the weather, and it will show you the weather for the next 3 days, which is a big deal for me. I like to sort of get to my weather as quickly as possible. Right, so this is a good time, I think, we talk about the menu of the watch. So if you scroll from top to the bottom, it takes you to a quick setup menu. This is where you can find your phone, you can turn on and off your do not disturb mode, you can change your brightness settings, or you can go to settings, which is like a miniature version of like a full setting sort of thing. So let's go to brightness. Hang on, I'll take the watch off. Just give you a little example of how the watch looks on the wrist. So if we go to brightness settings, right now it's at the maximum. So if I point it at the window, you can see how much of the information on the screen you'll be able to see in the broad daylight. And if I take it down to the minimum brightness, and we'll do exactly the same test, you can see that you're going to be struggling to see your time completely. Right, so now that you've seen how the top to bottom portion of the menu looks, if you scroll from left to the right or from right to the left, it doesn't really matter because the menu goes in the circle and it takes you back to the same screen. But if we go from right to the left, the first menu you'll come across would be your overall info taken from the watch for this particular day. So how many steps you've done, what distance you've traveled, and how many calories roughly you've burned. And then if we go further, that's the biggest plus of this watch for me personally, because I've never ever seen a heart rate sensor work as quick as that, which is literally in a second. It starts to read your heart rate in 1 or 2 seconds. It's so much quicker than Haylou LS01 or any watch that I've reviewed before, and it's very accurate because when you compare these with the Haylou LS01, they show you exactly the same figures, but that pair of watch takes by far longer to start reading your heart rate, and the heart rate is fairly accurate on this as well. So then if you go further, this is where you'll see your info about the sleep that you had for the previous night. Then you'll see the weather next, and this is like a little breathing exercise app. And then if you scroll from bottom to top, that takes you to your main menu. Obviously you'll see your statistics like we've seen before. This is where you can do your heart rate measuring thing as well. Then if you go to sports, there are quite a few sports to choose from. Amongst those are jogging, fast walking, biking, climbing, spinning, yoga, indoor running, gymnastics, basketball, football, rowing, and all those things. And the biggest plus with that is obviously in the app. If you haven't seen, check out the LS01 because the apps are fairly similar. In the app you can control how many sports you will see in this menu. You can either add or take away some of the sports if you don't need them in this menu, and that's quite handy. And what I like about that is finally they show difference between let's say running indoors and outdoors. So the watch will take a different approach of how they're going to measure all of the things whilst you're running indoors or outdoors. So that's quite good. Obviously you've got your weather, you've got your sleep tracking. If you go down to notice, this is where you'll find all your messages, and you can actually find quite a few messages coming from your phone to your watch. I think more than 7, which is quite useful. You also got the music control, which is basic, but it works really well. So you've got your skip tracks or rewind tracks, and obviously you've got to play and pause. Unfortunately there's no volume control, but we can live with that. Then if you go to more, this is where you've got your stopwatch. So if you press that, it's a basic stopwatch, but it works really well. And you've got your countdown, which is your timer. And I can't stress enough how much I love when the watch got a timer. It's so useful, especially when it comes to cooking. So you can choose between 1, 5, 10 minutes, or you can go in infinite basically by just pressing plus, and you can just set it to whatever time you need. Very useful feature, and the screen turns off without draining the battery, so that's very good. You can also find your phone in this menu. This is where you've got your breathing exercise thing as well. And then finally, if you go to settings, this is where you can change your watch faces. There are only 5 of them. And you also can change your brightness. You can see the info about the watch. You can power it off, or you can reset the watch. So now, summing things up, what are the positives, what are the negatives? I love the build quality. I hate the watch strap. I also love the fact that there's such a smooth animation for the watch, for the smartwatch of this price. But I hate that we still got a 240 by 240 pixel resolution. It could have been improved. $29 US, I think is reasonable price. I think they really well built for the price, and you know, if you're going to be buying them as a present for your friend or your loved ones, you know, they'll be more than happy. And yes, I will recommend this pair of watch. I think it's a good continuation of Haylou LS01. I think they've improved quite a few things, especially that heart rate sensor that works like a dream. And yeah, I hope I haven't missed anything, guys, and thank you very much for subscribing, commenting, and all the activity that you do on this particular channel. Yeah, so if I've missed anything, don't hesitate, comment down below. I'll do my best to answer any questions, and until the next one, I'll see you later, guys.